un 10% de descuento. Consulta condiciones. Adelántate y reserva ya tu gran viaje con Viajes El Corte Inglés.
¿Cómo me las maravillaría yo? ¿Cómo te las maravillarías tú?
Hola, hola. Sí, sí, sí. Hola, hola.
Hola, ahora sí. Hola,
Hola.
hola,
Hola. Hola.
hola.
Cuidado con los darse, ¿vale? Con el pelo y esas cosillas, ¿vale?
Sí, ahora. Ven.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Surin English Real Estate Forum. This is a special one for us this year because it's our part of our 40th anniversary celebrations. So hopefully it's going to be a wonderful morning. The Property and Investment Forum this morning is sponsored by Reale Seguros. Living on the Costa del Sol or owning a holiday home in the south of Spain is a dream of thousands of people in the north of Europe and the rest of the world. And thousands have made that dream come true. At Surin English, for the last 4 decades, we've been doing our bit for those thousands of property buyers or residents and tourists, providing reliable information in a language they understand. And Surin English has also played an important role over the last 4 decades in support of the real estate industry, property developers, architects, everything that goes with the whole industry, providing an efficient vehicle to carry the advertising messages of the professionals to the tens of thousands of readers in the print edition, and now the hundreds of thousands of readers around the world via the website surinenglish.com. Today, for this year's seminar, we've come to Estepona, one of the towns on the Costa del Sol with the most opportunities for property buyers today, and one of the most desirable places to live or to own a holiday property or to come on holiday to the south of Spain. So here we are in the garden of the Costa del Sol, as Estepona has become known, to examine the current situation of the property market, the trends, the help, the services and advice available to international buyers, both as they're buying and after they've bought a property. I'd like to thank for taking part this morning the Ayuntamiento de Estepona, Dakota Law, Fluent Finance Abroad, the Spanish estate agent Coberti Cordia Homes, Architect, and Bula and Partners for their collaboration. Thanks very much. Now I'll pass you over to my colleague Jenny Rhodes, who will be moderating the seminar this morning.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Rachel. Thanks and good morning. We've got 2 panels this morning. The first one, we're going to be looking at really the first stages of when people come and they decide they want to buy a property or land to build a property. everything a potential buyer should know about purchasing a home on the Costa del Sol. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome our panelists this morning. I'm delighted to welcome Vanessa Davila from the Spanish estate agent, Santiago Casilari from Architect, John Sutton from Dakota Law, and Eva Maria Perdigones from Fluent Finance Abroad. So I'm going to ask each of them just to present briefly who they are and what they do, and then we'll get on with the questions. So Vanessa, can I ask you?
Yes, thanks. I'm Vanessa Davila, as Jenny has said. I'm the sales manager of the Spanish estate agent. We have 2 offices, one in San Pedro that we just opened recently, and another one in Estepona, actually about 100 meters away from here. If you ever are passing, just pop in and say hi. Yeah, that's what I do.
Thank you. Santiago.
Well, I'm Santiago Casilari. I'm an architect. I'm also CTO of Architect. We design and build premium offsite villas, which means we build them in our facility and then we transport it to the site. Most of my career I've been designing high-end villas in the area of Marbella and also here in Estepona. And when David and Eduardo, the founders of Architect, told me about, asked me to lead the office, and they told me what they wanted to do, that completely blows my mind, and I saw it as a total game changer. So I told them I'm in.
Brilliant, great opportunity, fantastic, thank you. John.
Morning. For Dakota Law, my name's John Sutton. I've been a lawyer here 20 years. I'm dual qualified English solicitor and Spanish abogado. Dakota Law has been around since 1983. It's been on the Costa del Sol for about 40 years. We've currently got 3 offices in the peninsula, Corín, Nerja and Calahonda. We're just about to open a new one in Estepona, and we've also got 2 in Tenerife. We deal very much with the foreign clients. Have been dealing that from the start. When we started, it was more English, and now the market has changed, and it's much more non-Europeans and Eastern Europeans are the new people. Because of that, our staff reflects it, and I have to have a list because we have staff Spanish, English, Dutch, Belgian, Italian, Argentinian, Austrian, Polish, and Costa Rican. So we're well pleased to deal with the clients from all over the world.
Brilliant, thank you. And Eva.
Okay, thank you. My name is Eva, I work from Fluent Finance Abroad as an operation manager. We have offices in San Pedro and Soto Grande area, and helping people from all over the world raising finance to buy properties in Costa del Sol since 2006.
Thank you. Thanks, Eva. Thank you. So my first question really is, I know that I'm sure a lot of you have had questions about the recent Spanish government proposal to increase taxes, particularly for non-European buyers. And I'm sure lots of you here will have had phone calls and conversations with people who are a bit concerned. So I think a question I'd like to start asking Vanessa, regarding these proposals, where are we with the announcement? What is the current situation, and are you getting those calls from concerned potential buyers, and sort of what are you telling them really?
I think obviously everyone in the sector will have had queries from clients, especially British clients, USA clients as well, who have started moving a lot to Estepona because of the different, obviously, political situation in the States, also direct flights from New York, so we've seen loads of interest from them lately. So they were mainly the ones that were really concerned about the declarations. We had lots of British people that bought last year, or in the last 18 months that were going to have their properties handed in this year, that were really concerned. Clients that had booked trips to come and buy were really concerned as well. Our point of view, or our perspective, or what we communicated to clients were different things. First of all, was the declarations or the announcement had to be put into context, because it's not a statement. So it's not something that's happened when you read in the press that is an announcement. It sounds like it's something that is certain. So it was just a suggestion. Obviously, at this point, it's just an intention of something that someone would want to do. The other thing that I think we thought was important to kind of point out is that this is not a vote by the people. This is just, it's a political party expressing an opinion or a sentiment. Spain obviously has incredible diversity, and that's why we have autonomies, luckily. So in Spain we can deal with, we have different resources, different climates, different industries, different fasts. So we can legislate and we can accommodate. The autonomies have a high degree of autonomy to legislate and accommodate through tax the needs of that particular region. Obviously, the declarations came by, like the president who represents a party that is not represented currently in Andalusia, which is the PSOE party. Obviously, in Andalusia, we have Estepona, Marbella, they are both PP. Andalusia has a long track of really expressing that we are all open to foreign investment here. And obviously, there's other political issues to do with the shortage of social protected housing, which obviously in Europe is, like the numbers are a lot higher, and here there's a backlog of, there's like an endemic problem, but it's not something that is going to be sorted for years by, someone punctually. It's something that needs a little bit of a long-term view. So from that point of view, what we said to clients was, first of all, we don't think this is going to materialize. It would have to get support in the parliament, which we think is very unlikely. Secondly, even if it had support enough to be passed as a law, then it would have to be ratified and not rejected by the European Union, which is a different stage altogether. And finally, even if it became law, there's ways, because I've been chatting to a lot of people, especially lawyers, lately, the notary picking up their brains. And obviously, where there is a law, there is a way, obviously, and that's probably why, organizations like, people that know how to go around things have, obviously, a very good niche in the market, because there's ways of creating a company. I don't know, because obviously that's, someone else can take on that topic, but I know that there's ways you can set up a company or you can do certain things, but we need to remember that Andalusia has got a cheapest transfer tax. The other thing is that when we spoke about the increase in the tax, because it was set as 100%, I think people automatically, and I include myself there, we thought, what's this going to be? Is the house going to cost you double, the price? And obviously we're talking about the tax, meaning we have two main tax when you buy a property. One is transfer tax for a second-hand property at 7%. So is that going to be double? That's still 14%. Transfer tax in other regions, like in Catalonia, is 10%, in Valencia as well. So we are lucky that in Andalusia we have 7%, which obviously is sending a message that, yes, in Andalusia is welcoming investment, and so even at that, we're talking 14% tax. We're not talking you're not going to be able to afford a home.
Yeah, so it's not the sort of alarmist headlines that perhaps people have seen.
No,
actually, if
exactly.
you break it down and look into
and then
it's
it's
not
10%, for a new build, it would be 20%, but that's it. So, I think that would be the main message that we tried to communicate to clients, but I think the damage was more psychological as well, because you don't want to buy a property in a place where you perceive that you're not welcome.
Yeah,
so we had lots of clients saying, it's a shame, so I bought my property and now Spain doesn't want me, because in the press it was saying Spanish declarations. It wasn't Spanish declarations, it wasn't discussed in Parliament, it was one political party making an announcement of an intention
of a possibility. So thank you. Thanks, Vanessa. John, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, first I say I agree with everything that Vanessa's just said, that's for sure. We all heard it, and he definitely said it. Could he do it legally? He could do it if he could get the political backing. Will he do it? I very, very much doubt it. And a lot of people think he didn't really mean what was said, because in the context of everything else that he said in his speech, he was talking about the housing crisis in Spain, and particularly young people being able to buy properties or even rent properties, and he was particularly aiming at short-term holiday lets or rentals, mostly I think in the cities. I don't think really that the crisis is, those properties here are built for tourists, but if places like Malaga and Barcelona and Madrid have a problem with people buying residential property and using it for short-term rentals. And I think that any action that he's going to take will be a lot more focused than simply putting 100% tax on a purchase, which in any case he can only legally do on non-European residents or citizens, which probably is a very minor part of the problem anyway. So I'm not too concerned about it, I have to say.
Right, okay, perhaps that's the message. Don't be too concerned about it. I don't know, Eva or Santiago, if you wanted to comment.
even if I'm not an expert on this matter, that I think rising the taxes for a certain group of people that represents only maybe the 2% of the total transactions is not going to help to solve nothing, I think. I think instead of well, I know the problem right now with the houses is very different than the one we have 20 years ago with the last crisis. Right now, the problem I think is the lack of offer. So instead of making things a bit more difficult for a small group of people, let's at least try to make it easier for everyone. So I think we should build more, build faster, build better. With that, I think industrialization may help a lot, and give the people the offer they need.
Yeah, thank you. Eva, I don't know if you...
Yeah, for me, not being a legal professional, my opinion about this is still very emotional. Because for me, at that moment, it was just noise and a lack of responsibility saying this, which is so important for our economic matter, okay, without even knowing. I don't even think he was knowing what he was talking about. It didn't have a plan. So for me, it's a lack of responsibility. Maybe he just want the debate, the discussion to be on the street. I don't know. Will it happen? We don't know. But for certain, it will not happen in a short time if it does.
I think it's that listening to what you're all saying, it's something that, yes, it's hit the headlines, but it's not something that anybody needs to worry about immediately. So, you know, let's get back to thinking about people coming, looking to buy a property here. And I mean, what are the key sort of considerations that international buyers in particular think about? John, what is the sort of advice that you give to people from a legal point of view?
The very first thing I would ask the client is, why are you buying the property? Because if you're buying it to move here and use it as your main residence, you'll be looking at residence requirements. Is it possible? Are you EU national? You can move here easily. Or non-EU, then we need to look at visa possibilities. What are the fiscal consequences of you moving here and becoming tax resident? So there's a whole different section of questions or advice you'd give to a client who's buying to move here. And then you've got people who are buying either a holiday home purely for their own use and use of family and friends, and there's different considerations. And then you have the third category, people who are buying to use it partially maybe for the personal use, but they're going to be reliant on renting it out, and then you have to look at things like, does it have the first occupational license? Is it on a community where that will be allowed? And are there any other considerations or restrictions that would disallow them from doing that? What I would say is, looking at the way the wind's blowing, I think looking to the future is probably the tourist rentals are one of the things that they are going to look at, and it will be quite easy to restrict. Whether they will do that by autonomous region, or whether they'll do that nationally, or down to the ayuntamientos, or even down to particular urbanizations, I don't know. I mean, it would be better if it was focused, because as I mentioned before, there are some areas here which are not detrimentally affected by short-term rentals, and whereas the city centres of the major Spanish cities, they are detrimentally affected, and they're the ones that should be targeted. So basically, I would look at what they want to do. I mean, it goes without saying, I would always recommend that any buyer uses a lawyer, and if they use a good lawyer, and there's a lot of them, they will tell them what needs to do. They will give them the budget at the start. They will make sure that they've got all the paperwork in order, that the property is checked, and it should be a relatively stress-free purchase.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, Eva, a similar question really, from a financial point of view. What is the sort of first advice that you would give?
Our first advice, from my point of view at least, create a great team to deal with this thing in Spain. Get a good lawyer to take care of all the compliances and everything. Take a good real estate agent, okay? And get a mortgage broker, hopefully Fluent Finance. All right? Yeah, and that way, the main advice for me to customers, trust. Trust in the team you have created, okay? Because they will do the best for you, all right? Problems may arise always, but it's problems that we are used to deal with. So for us, it's not really a problem. Something arises and we work to solve it. Okay? As a client, don't even think about wanting to know every single detail of your application, because getting a finance in Spain, getting a mortgage in Spain is far from being easy. It's far from being a short process. Okay, so yeah, first create your team, right? And it's very important as well, and this is a part, that even before looking for properties, do your homework with your finance. Get an agreement in principle using your mortgage broker so that when you go out there and look for a property, you know exactly what your quote is, okay? And you're ready for when the time comes.
Thank you. Vanessa, I don't know if you want to add anything, sort of initial
Yes, I
advice that
actually
you give
agree.
to
I think the
people.
more you prepare before, the better obviously things go. It's a fast market obviously as well. And obviously there's tax and things, involved. Sometimes you go to a viewing and people don't know that they have to pay 7%. There's an offer put in and then suddenly they, someone says, oh, you know that you need to add like 9%, and suddenly it's like, oh no, this is gonna go pear shaped now. So I think the more information the client has in advance, and obviously, that's what we're here for, hopefully between all of us. So the client knows what are the stages of buying a property as well, so they come prepared. They know that it's a fast market, as I said, so you need to put 6,000 down deposit. You know that it's going to an escrow account. You know that you're not going to pay, nothing's going to go to the vendor until it's 10%, and there's a PPC contract in place. For the person to have all these stages in their head, to have a very clear budget again, to have spoken to, especially with international buyers, which is what we're talking about here, they need to know as well, and that would be, your job, between the two of you, for the client to know when's the best time to move to Spain to become tax resident here, because I know there's different implications if you move in the first or the second part of the year, what tax you're going to pay as a non-resident, that you're not going to be able to deduct things from your rentals, blah, 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 all those things. You cannot really hit the client with all that information after they've put an offer on a property. But I think sometimes that's been the modus operandi here, agents would take the client out, and then when they see the property and then suddenly they find out all these things and they get overwhelmed or they are out of their depth. So one thing is the cost of the property, which is one-off, but a different thing is your yearly cost, what you're going to be paying, not only community fees, but also obviously EB, but other things as well, like your non-tax resident, your tax and everything. And I think the more information people have and the better team they have behind them, and then it should really go, it should be straightforward.
Thank you. Thanks, Vanessa. So I think from this, really, it's making sure that you've done your research, you know what's out there, and you make sure you've got a good team of lawyers, finance, estate agents, and you come and you're prepared. Now we've all seen at the moment, the Costa del Sol has always been a very popular, attractive place for investment, be it people moving here permanently or looking for a second home. Obviously Brexit has had an impact perhaps on British buyers. I think, John, you alluded to earlier the fact that the profile of buyers here is changing considerably as well. So I'm interested to see what sort of impact that's having on the real estate market on the Costa del Sol, how it's been changing, what kind of trends that people are looking at for this year, and perhaps Santiago, in terms of what people are looking for from a new build property. What are the sort of things that international buyers in particular are looking for?
Well, I don't like to difference between nationalities, because we designed unique villas, and every client has its own requirements. But yeah, we see the market has evolved a lot in the last few years. Spain has made a big effort with digitalization. With the implementation of building information modeling method, which means 30 years ago we draw the plans by hand. Then it came the computer, and we did the same, but with a computer. Right now we can build a 3D model, digital twin of their house, so we can make simulations or with bioclimatic actions. And our clients are very concerned about sustainability. So they ask us to do those kind of things. So my advice would be look for a company that implements this kind of technology, and a trustable company that gives you the guarantees for time saving, and that is something very important people needs.
Thank you. Yeah, and as you said, this sustainability, definitely a key factor. Vanessa, have you seen over the years that the profile of things that people are asking for is changing? And what do you sort of see for this year?
I think that definitely energy efficiency is on the cards a lot more than it used to be. And obviously legislation is going to be demanding that houses qualify, have a minimum standard by 2030 as well, which is not that far away. But I think people were, I'm not going to talk about particular nationalities either, I'm just going to follow Santiago's advice, but I know that there were certain Northern Europeans, that were maybe renting here for a couple of months just to run away from the winter. And obviously all this digital era that has come after after COVID, when we all implemented systems to be able to work from home, it's meant that loads more people can work from home. And instead of coming for a couple of months in the winter, they are now buying, because if they can now be here for 9 months of the year, why would they be renting when we know that the rental market is really complicated here? You can only get so many months, and then you are out in the summer, So I found that loads of nationalities that were renting, they're now buying as well. And I think that's good. And also, I would say as well, loads of Spanish people are moving to Costa del Sol as well. We seem to think that it's just foreigners, but it's not true. I see lots of people from Córdoba, from Seville, from interior Andalusia, that say we've had a house in Estepona we've come for holidays for 20 years, but now we want to have a house here because my wife can work from home, we can take turns, we can come over. So there's loads of people from the rest of Spain as well, and I think COVID had an impact on that. Obviously, we had also that huge investment in Andalusia to make sure that technology reaches every little nook and cranny on the Costa del Sol, which has helped. So I think there's lots of pressure from different people to buy here at this time, and it allows people to spend a lot more time here than they used to in the past.
Absolutely, and connections, flights, the AVE, the train up to Madrid and different places, absolutely. Eva, John, I don't know if you wanted to add anything in terms of a changing profile.
No, I think
there you go.
No, I think as I said earlier, it's definitely changing, and whether the long-term effects of Brexit will eventually reverse and the Brits will come back, I don't know, but we can see the profile in the nationalities changing, definitely, and we tailor our staffing to deal with that.
To sort of fit those needs, absolutely.
Eva, from my personal experience, data out there in Google, we can reach them anytime, but from what I can see in my daily basis in my work, is that, Brits keep on buying here. They are the most buying here yet, but I can see many French, more than ever, at least asking finance, Polish, different countries are now moving. Of course, USA, United States, many people from United States moving here. So for me, that has been a big change. And as well, I can see people building their own house, not just non-residents coming and buying. It's constructing, building their own house. It has been a change that I have noticed since 2 years ago, maybe. I have never done so many self-building mortgages before. So for me, it's a big change.
So people buying plots of land rather than actually already built houses. Well, that leads quite nicely, thank you, Eva, into the next question, really for Santiago, but again, anybody else, please chip in, about in terms of that architecture and design, and I know you didn't want to sort of differentiate between international buyers and national buyers, but sort of what are the demands and requirements in terms of what people are, you know, if they are coming, they're building their own home.
Yeah.
What sort of thing are people looking?
Well, I told before I don't like to do that, but yeah, certainly there are differences. I think international buyer is more concerned about sustainability. They have pretty high standards, and they know very well what they want, what they don't. But I think that the main difference is that they are more used to the kind of construction we do. They are more used to off-site construction. Very often, Spanish clients came to us asking for a container house or something like that, and with all due respect, that's not what we do. So I think it is the main difference. But everyone wants the same. Everyone wants to live safe, feel safe in their house, feel comfortable. With that, they are asking for domotics as well. So yeah, I think they are concerned about that, and they look for us because of these questions.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Vanessa, is this something that you're seeing as well? People sort of looking for land rather than houses, or?
Yeah, I think obviously while this is still available, I think there's an awareness that obviously in Costa del Sol we have very limited land. We have beautiful mountain ranges that make sure that the weather here is amazing, but it just means we cannot keep on going inland and inland and inland. That's why I think everything's moving towards Cádiz, and obviously, you know, there's not a lot of space to build anymore, you know, on the east of Malaga, you know, like east of Costa del Sol. I think also the feeling or the sensation sometimes is that we're building loads, but we need to remember that obviously there was like everything came to a stall after the crisis, you know, 2007, 2008. There was no construction for a while. They were not given any licenses. Obviously, the law took a turn to protect people as well, because our building industry was completely out of control. But then suddenly everything became really slow. Licenses were given very, very slowly. And people, you know, the population kept on growing. So we're trying to catch up now. But I think that obviously, yeah, people have this awareness of, land is limited. There's still some. So if I want to have a house, you know, made to my requirements, this is the time to do it.
This is the time to do it. Okay, thank you. And John and Eva, want to bring you in this.
Yeah, I was just posing for a photo.
You're posing for photos. Just smiling away, not listening. There you go. You pose for your photograph. Have a little break.
The only thing I agree with both of the other panelists is because we have several offices in different areas. It's different depending on the office. That our coastal offices have a very different clientele from our Coin office, for example. But both in terms of budget, or maybe what they can buy for that budget, and what they want to do. So obviously, here on the coast, there are a lot more people buying apartments. And in Coin, actually, there would be people that would look at buying plots of land, and then obviously we've got the complications of the urban land. Is it rustic land? What you can build on, and don't believe the builder. He says, "I'll just leave it there for 10 years and it'll be fine." It's which I have heard people say. So in terms of changes, yes, it's changing, but we see the difference. And in our Tenerife offices is completely different altogether, because they are very restricted on land.
Right.
So it's not advice generic to one area, but it's different, I'd say, for the different offices.
And you were saying you've got offices this side of Malaga, and then in Nerja as well, which is slightly different from this side. So
yeah,
you know, is there a different sort of profile between the two sides?
I mean, and Estepona's not open yet, so I can't comment. But but I would say, I mean, Nerja and Calahonda are different, but they have much more in common than they do with Coin, for example, which is inland. We see as well difference in the profile of nationalities. There tends to be a lot of Scandinavians in our Nerja office, and maybe more traditionally there was British and Irish in Calahonda. That's changing slightly as well to all nationalities, as people have mentioned.
back to the changing profile again. Eva, I didn't know if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. As well, depending on where people are buying, the profile will be absolutely different. Of course, it's not the same profile, the one buying in Costa Blanca that maybe here in Costa del Sol or in Ayamonte. So the market is different, the client is different as well.
Okay. So we're looking really at helping people that want to come here, want to come to the Costa del Sol, enjoy a sort of a seamless and hassle-free journey into buying their property, buying land, buying an existing property, whether it be a new build or a house that's perhaps 20, 30 years old. Really, the conclusions are, as I said a little bit earlier, from a finance point of view, Eva, if somebody comes in, we've talked about all sorts of things. The tax situation that the Spanish government have said, we've sort of said, don't worry about it at the moment. Still, very much, lots of opportunities down here on the Costa del Sol. In terms of a finance point of view, helping those people with the seamless and hassle-free journey, what would be your sort of conclusions and your
My
final
sort of
comments?
Beginning with what I said, trust your team. Okay, this is faith. You're buying, seems to be very easy from the outside, but you are buying a property. That's a big thing. You are buying a property in a different country. That's even bigger. And you're buying something not just for you, but for your family. So wow, that's very big. That's very big. So you have to be able to trust the people working for you. And then I always like to say, think about your advisor, in this case, in Fluent Finance, or your people in Fluent Finance. Think that we are your confessor, okay? We have to know you better than you know yourself. Maybe we will know your finance when we finish better than you know your finance, okay? And don't hesitate to pick up the phone whenever you have a fair, a doubt, wherever. Feel free to communicate, because we are here working for you. This is a very stressful journey, and we are here to take the stress out of you, all right? And that's that. That's faith. That's trust. That's human being. That's human relationship.
Thank you. Thanks. John?
I'd say it's very important that you choose the best possible professionals to help you, because, as you said, you're very often buying for the first time in a new country, and you will know nothing. And in fact, you might know less than nothing. And how do you know less than nothing? Because you know something, but you know it wrong. And that's worse than knowing nothing. So get the best professionals. And I also think, and I'm a real believer in this, that your professionals should all work together in a team. So your mortgage broker, your lawyer, your estate agent, your architect, are all pulling in the same direction. And I have heard it said, never use the lawyer appointed by the agent. Well, I can see that point of view. However, what would be worse is if your agent's in conflict with your lawyer all the time, and what you really want, we're all aiming for the same objective. So we really all want to pull in the same direction and all work together, and I think that's the strong advice that I could give.
Thanks. Santiago?
Well, I totally agree with them. Where you're planning on building a house, there are a lot of challenges that arise. So the first advice for me would be planification. And yeah, of course, put yourself in the hands of professionals, because there are a lot of professionals willing to help.
Thank you. And Vanessa, now you've just won an award as well, I believe, haven't you?
Yeah. I don't even have the full details, but I think, it's an award for the Luxury Award. So we've just been voted the best real estate in Costa del Sol. It's really good.
Okay, so in terms of conclusions about helping your clients enjoy that seamless, hassle-free journey.
Well, I think you have to, from my point of view as a real estate agent, I think obviously the more information we have, I think it's a very competitive market, and I think you need to be ahead of the game and know a little bit of everything, and obviously then have a very good team to refer, but at least to have a basic knowledge so that you can answer, questions on the spot as well and be as prepared as you can. Then obviously just sometimes it's an open process, so I would say people coming with a brief, thinking, I want an apartment, I want to be, I don't mind driving, or the way around, I want to be able to close to everything, but I want a big terrace. And then you have to educate clients as you go along and say, well, if you want to be in the middle of Estepona, you're not going to have a massive terrace because houses weren't being built with massive terrace 20 years ago, and everything that is in the center of Estepona was built, So anyway, you have to, it is an open journey, and you have to be really willing to be a sounding board for the client and to embark on this kind of journey where you might have, like 20, I wish, it's just offer is very limited at the moment, but you might have a selection of 10 properties thinking you've really nailed it, and then by day number 2, you have to break that list, because the brief has completely changed. Because when you get to know the client and you're asking questions and you're also telling them, okay, so this is what you like to do in Spain, or okay, so you're going to use your house for rentals, then you have to cross over some complexes because they don't allow now because some, are voting against doing short lets. So you have to adapt and you have to really let them lead. So you have to just empower them and have all your resources in your head, so that when you finally arrive at what they really want, you can say, oh, actually, this is the area for you, or this is, and just help them. But basically, they are in charge, and it's an open process, so things might change along the way. You just have to be, you're there to facilitate, basically, I think, and have a very good network of professionals. I really appreciate having someone that you can phone on a weekend, because it seems like it's very difficult sometimes, to get through certain professionals, on a Saturday, and sometimes you see a property and you might need to make a question, especially if it's something to do with, obviously, plots, because there's all this contradicting information about, 1 year you can build on rustic if the plot is bigger than this, but then suddenly that changes, So you have to be up to scratch with the information and have a very good team that you can rely on, that you can call at short notice, I would say. I think that's very valuable from my point of view anyway. And then just go with the flow.
There you go. Good point to end on, to go with the flow. But really, I think the conclusion I've got is make sure you do your research, build up a really good team of financial people, lawyers, estate agents, architects, if you're looking to build your own place or you're looking for reforms on a place that already exists, and really kind of know what you're doing before you get here, and then make sure that you can rely on the team, build your team up and know that they're there, they're the experts, they know the area, and they're the people that can, as you said, you guide people. And sort of manage expectations to a certain extent as well. So I guess people come with, they want everything, but they want it in Estepona or they want it in Marbella, where places aren't so big, so it's sort of managing expectations as well. Okay, well, thank you. I'd like to thank all of my panellists on this section of the morning. So really this bit has been about coming to Spain, wanting to buy a house. What are the first steps? And I think that's been absolutely brilliant, really interesting. Thank you. So we're going to have a quick break now, and then come back for the second part of the morning, which is really looking at, so people have bought the house, they're here, they've built up their team, they've found the house, how to make the most out of that dream house and out of the dream of living on the Costa del Sol. So that's what we're going to do with my next group of panellists. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great. Okay. 3 minutes, apparently. Thank you, everybody. Hi, Ben. Oh, everybody. Oh, hello. Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm delighted this time to introduce to you Lorena Cirillo from Coberti,
Yes,
Borja Fernandez from Reale Seguros, our sponsor for this morning, and Benno Bula from Bulo and Partners. So this time, as I said, we're going to move on. We talked earlier about buying a property and looking at the initial steps. So now people have bought the property, so we're looking at important steps like making sure you've got the best insurance for the property, looking at perhaps wanting to refurbish the home, get all of the indoor and outdoor installations that you'd like to put in your home, and enjoying life on the Costa del Sol now that you've bought the home. So I'd like to introduce Lorena. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hi, everybody. My name is Lorena. I'm sales manager from Coberti. We do projects, outdoors projects, designed and customized. So that's our main skills. Let's see.
Brilliant. Okay, so we'll discover a bit more about those as we go on.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Borja, please
Good
introduce
morning.
yourself. Good morning.
Thanks a lot to sharing English for inviting Reale Seguros at this event. My name is Borja Fernandez. I'm the head of expertise business at Reale Seguros. I've been working in Reale since 2007, and before that I worked in BBVA and Bank of America, developing the credit card business. So one of the most important success in Reale Seguros nowadays is our territorial structure. Because with this structure we can be next to our customers and the brokers. And with this philosophy we have 7 territorial divisions, and in each of them we have special techniques at those 7 departments to try to resolve all the problems. And also we have 54 branches all around Spain to try to be more confident with the brokers and with the customers. And at the end of the 2004, just in Andalusia, we've got 30,000 customers. It's about the 5% of the market share. And just in Malaga, 20,000. So it's about the 15% of the market share.
Well, thank you. Great, thank you. Benno.
Yes, hello, my name is Benno Bühler. I am architect since over 25 years on the Costa del Sol. And a part of architect, I am as well a court surveyor in Spain, and I have specialized a little bit in this type of home inspections. The home inspector arrives when you fell in love with the house you want to buy. So you should ring me maybe 10 minutes before signing on the notary, just to make a check, a technical check, a little legal check. If I discover something, we refer to lawyers who understand more about the legal thing, the legal background. But we are on site. We are visiting the home, we make visual inspections, and we assess the buyer if it's a good buy or not. This is what is the most important thing to know before you buy.
Very good advice, yes.
It's falling down here, I think.
Okay, great, thank you. So we'll delve into a little bit more about that in a moment. But really my first questions are for Borja about the insurance. As we said, we've bought the property, super important to insure it. So Borja, really, what is the most important factor, particularly for foreign residents when buying home insurance? What are they looking for when they come to Spain?
Okay, we was taking in account that we have here different nationalities, and each of them, they have a different point of view about the insurance in their own countries. It's not the same French, English, German, so they always, when they come to Malaga to try to buy a home, they want to know how the insurance product works here. And the best way to try to resolve this problem or these ideas about how it works here is our territorial structure that I said before. We have just in Andalusia 63 brokers and agents, and just in Malaga 30 brokers and agents to try to speak their language with the customers, to try to understand what they need, what the insurance product they can say to them to try to resolve all the future problems that they could have. So that is the most important thing, to try to have a personal advice with our brokers and agents to try to speak their language and try to resolve the probably future problems that they will have in their houses.
Great, okay, thank you. And do foreign residents look for anything different, or do they have sort of special requirements when they're buying insurance, which perhaps is different from Spanish buyers?
Yeah, of course. In 2010, we launched a special line of products that is called Real Expatriates, and we call Real Expatriates householders. We have 5 different products. Depends on if it's the main one, the second one, the holiday house, or if they want to rent, or they want a tourist house. And in each of them, we have 3 different models. This is the standard, optimum, or premium services. So the most important thing is to try to understand what they need, and we can resolve to them with special conditions, special covers, and also with a high quality service. About also a part of the brokers, the agents, we always create a special call center to try to resolve the problems from the brokers, from the customer side, to try to give all the customers different products, different covers, different service, to try to be calm and be confident with a personal advice.
Okay, thank you. And like you said, buy something complicated like buying houses. We heard earlier the service is offered in lots of different languages, and those languages are increasing as the profile changes. And insurance must be the same, that people want to know what they're buying, and they want to have those conversations in English or in French or in German or
Italian.
Italian, yeah.
And all our products and all the legal contract we have also in 7 different languages to try to read in their own language, not in Spanish after that, to try to traduce. And also in legal contract it's a little bit difficult, and it's not the same thing in English and Spanish and German. So it's so important to have these type of products and these materials to try to the foreign people understand what they need and what they want. And always the personal advice with our brokers and agents.
Brilliant work, great, thank you. Okay, now, Benno, you mentioned earlier it's best to call you 10 minutes before people are going to sign on the line, just to make sure that everything's okay with the property. So how can property owners ensure that their property is well maintained and everything is okay before they buy it? And also, is there a difference between buying it to live there and then people who are buying a property to perhaps rent out to tourists?
That's many questions.
Sorry, there's a lot of questions.
Let's start first with the 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, focus on the 10 minutes.
I said 10 minutes just to avoid having to pay me 20 times. No? So I'm happy to go 20 times and see 20 different houses, but it's maybe not recommendable. I mean, all of us who bought houses, we know when we enter in a flat in a house, we know, yes, this is what I want to buy. So in this case, you should ring me, and then we appear and make our home inspections. We check everything, what we can check. No, the legal check is very complicated, especially in the hinterlands. If you go for this no urbanizable things with the houses with or without the AFO license, makes the things a little complicated. You know, from insurance part of view, that the no AFO, for example, if a house burns out and we do not, there's a fire, and we do not have the AFO, nobody pays.
Nobody.
So a little detail you should know when you buy the house, no? So but I'm not an insurance broker. He knows maybe more about this than me. But the same happens with legality. It is for Middle Europeans very difficult to understand how we could have this illegal house, how they call it here, illegal, no? What is illegal?
I was going to ask, but AFO, for those, anybody who doesn't know, is, could you explain probably
it's
better than I
just
can?
the Andalusian government has defined in the Lista law that the house can be there under certain conditions. When it's older, at least 6 years built or older. Yeah. So, but it shouldn't stay, of course, in protected areas, in flooding areas, or whatever. No. So, it's important to have, but nobody has it because it costs money. So, you go to the town hall, you make the solicitude. Of course, you have to pay a lot of money, and many homeowners say, "Why would I need enough, or if I have the electric light and the electric supply and the water in my house? Why should I need it?" But you will need it because it's a sort of legalization. If you want to rent out a house, you would need this legal background of a house. No?
So it's a legal document that says that you
It's
can
a
be
town hall.
connected to...
Yes, the town hall says the house is now legal, and with this you can ask for electric and water supply, for example. No? So it's important to have, but it costs money, and it's a 1 or 2 years fight with the town halls.
And that's something you'd need whether you're going to live in the property or rent it out.
Yes, more or less. Yeah.
Okay. So then, right, so my next question was about making sure that a property is well maintained and managed, especially if they're non-residents or they're going to use the house to rent it out as a holiday home.
Oh, it's not offer. I went in the last 25, 30 years, I visited many houses, and I noticed in a very quick first moment if the owner is very organized and well-maintaining people or not. So you see it very quickly if the house is maintained and the the owner spent money in maintenance and painting and heating and climatization things and so forth. We have, based on that, it's of course as well an impression. I'm as well a human, and when a house is well maintained, I say yes, that looks nice to me, so I can assess maybe a purchase. But of course we go into this damp cellar floors under the pool, and we see that humidity, and then we check and if the installations are okay, and we discover, even if well-maintained houses, we discover things what people doesn't know. No? Many owners, for example, they don't know where their sewage water goes to. So, where is it? I don't know. Yeah, how can I find it out?
So you come in.
I come in and I said, please ring Pepe Nunez to do so, to clean the pipes and check where the water goes to. So, things like that. Yeah.
Great. Okay, thank you. Now we're talking about keeping the houses, whether you're living there or renting it out, keeping the property maintained, looking nice. Lorena, in your experience, what way do you believe that your expertise and resources can add value to this sector and specifically support people that are here today?
Well, our main sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
Okay, don't worry.
We're expert in doing outdoors projects. That is one of the main the main reason why people buy houses in Costa del Sol, to enjoy the weather, to have a lifestyle that permit them to be outdoors all the time. And that's what we provide. We have a highly well-educated team we design, and we install and maintain also this kind of projects for buyers, homeowners, not only to increase the value of the house, but also to increase their lifestyle value. So it's mainly what we do is to provide a little bit extra of the living in the Costa del Sol dream. So you can enjoy your outdoor spaces year-round. Too much sunshine, a little bit of wind, rainy days in the winter time, you still can enjoy your property in Costa del Sol.
And I think that's a really important point, isn't it? Because you come to the Costa del Sol and you have this terrace that's facing the sun, but actually that, you'd have to consider when's the sun going to be on your terrace. Of course, it's winter. We still get winter here. We get rain, and when it rains, it can really rain, as you say.
Yeah, and our team is very local. So The company's been working for 2 decades, and it's a Spanish-owned company. So we know the climate, we know the environment, we know the lifestyle. So when you come in here and you think that I want sun, maybe not in July and August. So
I want some shade
you're gonna need some shade. You're gonna need
Yeah.
some, and we are good to advise that kind of solutions, and we do it maintaining the aesthetic and the needs lifestyle of the family that are buying for, I don't know, for themselves, for renting, for whatever reason they're here. So we adapt that in having in mind our own desires, so that we customize every solution.
So it's for people who want to enjoy the space themselves, people who want to, they've bought something, they want to rent it out, so they want it to make it look attractive to holiday, people that coming 2 weeks on holiday or 2 years to rent, and small spaces, big spaces, because I mean terraces, here people can have a teeny tiny little terrace.
Yeah,
to
and
a
maybe that
nice
little
sized
tiny
balcony or
little
a
terrace,
or a
and
garden.
you will need it. You want to enjoy it all year round, so you close it and have a solution that can open and close it, so you have shade and protection for rain, maybe. Or whatever. And we do it with the high quality products, so they have the least maintenance as possible. So they don't need to take care of the products every time they come around here, and they say, oh, now I have to do this and that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because it's the maintenance, isn't it? Painting the fence, cleaning the toldo, cleaning the awning, and all of that
high
kind of thing.
quality, so you're free for do all the maintenance at much as possible, of course.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just to bring in Borja, I'm losing my Borja and Benno on this. Benno, when you go and inspect a property, I guess it wouldn't just be the inside of the property, it's also the terrace, the balcony.
It's everything what I can see.
Yeah, yeah.
So we do not move around furniture or take away carpets or whatever to
You're
check.
not going to walk out there, no, okay.
Yeah? Is that okay? It works
Yeah.
good? Yeah. It's a visual inspection what we do. Yeah. But everything, outside, inside, if I can enter under the pool on the cellar floor areas, the technic rooms. Technic room is my specialist, so I like to see all the pipes and heating machines and burners and so on.
Okay, good to know, because all of that would go straight over my head. And Borja, I guess in terms of insurance, people are looking at not just insuring what the property is, it's all of the...
It's very important what Rob said before this, to maintain correctly each houses, because if you don't maintain correctly about the problems that they see or that they could happen every day, the insurance cover try to avoid. If you don't maintain correctly all your house, but sometimes the people think that the insurance cover, they're going to pay everything, and it's true. Always the brokers and the customer want to know, and the brokers to explain correctly to the customers, and the customer understand what is the object of the insurance. It's try to be ensure your peace of mind if every strange happen in the future. That is the most important thing, though.
Okay, thank you. And so really, in terms of sort of conclusions from the conversation that we've been having this morning, Borja, what would you say the most important advice if somebody calls you up and they say, I've just bought or I'm looking to buy a property on the Costa del Sol, I need insurance for the property, what sort of information would you
First of all, always try to find a fantastic company, an insurance company like Real Seguros, with a territorial structure, and with this have next to you a broker or an agent that could give you a personal advice and try to ensure their peace of mind in every moment, in any situation in the future.
Thank you. Benno, in terms of your conclusions, somebody calls you up, they say, I'm about to sign, can you come and have a look at the house? What advice would you give in conclusion to somebody coming?
The first, call the home inspector. We see many things, and we are on site. The lawyer wouldn't go, usually they do not go on site, and they wouldn't see if there are illegal extensions or something. We see that. A real estate agent, they are very good real estate agents, but they are interested in selling the house. So the most independent advice you will get from us, of course. and 30 years of experience. So.
Great, okay, thank you. And Lorena, people come to you, they've bought the house, they want to live the dream, they want to make the outdoor area look as lovely as possible. So somebody comes to you, what do you first sort of say to a client? What would be
Well, the first thing for us is the most important is to know what the client want. What is their dream? So that's why we specialize to adapt our design, our products, and our ideas to make their dream come true. What you want to use your outdoor space for? Are you a family that have big reunions? Are you, I don't know, doing outdoors activities? Are you just wanting to have a little relaxed corner for chilling in your garden? Whatever is your dream, we try to adapt to that, and we come with our expertise to help you to make that through.
And
It's
I
like
guess people come with a budget as well. So
with a
there'll be
budget,
people who'll say, I've only got this.
Yeah, maybe they have an idea, and we gave them also the technical solutions, because not everything can be built, not everything is smart enough to be built in that way they want it, but we usually make a good solution to adapt to their wishes and their needs.
Okay, well, thank you. And I don't know if anybody else wanted to add anything. No? Okay, well, I'd like to thank again my panelists this time, Borja Fernandes from Reali Seguros, Benno Bula from Bulo and Partners, and Lorena Cirillo from Coberti, and everybody who was on the panel earlier. So this morning we've really started at looking at people who are thinking about perhaps coming to buy on the Costa del Sol, what they need to do, and I think the conclusion from there was do your research before you come, really know what it is you want, but be open to suggestions, because you do come and you do speak to the experts who know the area really, really well. You buy your property, before you buy it, just remember to call Benno up just to make sure that everything's 10 minutes before you sign on the dotted line. And then once you've got your property, one of the first things is to get a decent insurance, a good insurance. And as Borja has said, people come from different countries where there are different sort of insurance requirements, insurance interests. So knowing what the landscape here is in Spain, how it differs from your own country, and making sure that you really know what you're talking about when you've got the insurance, and speaking to people who can advise you and in your own language. Because I think, like we said, for all the process, from the estate agents, the finance, the lawyers, the insurance, the inspecting, being able to speak to somebody in your own language if you're not so confident in Spanish, knowing that you've got sort of dotted the I's and crossed the T's and everything is super, super important. And then just to enjoy life. Once you've got your house, you've got your insurance, you've got your pergola, you've got your garden sorted, you've had the inspection, then you come and you start to really enjoy life on the Costa del Sol, which I think many of us have done exactly that over the years and decades that we've been living here. So thank you very much. Thank you to you for coming and listening to us. I hope you've found it interesting and got something out of it. I think there's going to be time now for some coffee and to make those connections. If you want to speak to anybody here, then I think everyone's going to be here for a little while. And yeah, so thank you very much to everybody. Thank you.